So Spider-Man 3 for the Wii is not a port of the PS3 or 360 game. It's actually an original title that was built, for the Wii in mind, the Wii controls and gameplay that's unique to the system. With the Wii version of Spider-Man 3, we share the overall movie story and plot line, but there are story arcs that's unique to the platform, such as the Morbius Shriek story arc. So what we've done here is we have a nonlinear storyline, multiple storylines that weave in and out of the movie storyline, in a pretty clever way. So even the characters like Morbius and Shriek have some ties into the movie storyline, as do Doc Connors, for example. So we have some interesting story elements that the comic book fans are going to like. It's true to the movie, in terms of the look and feel. But we've written a ton of new dialogue. In fact, the great thing about this project is that we've been able to use the voice actors from the movie. I mean, the actors from the movie came into the studio for recording, and they did the script for PS3 and 360 and a separate script for Wii. The Wii controls, we actually went through a number of different iterations trying to figure out what the most intuitive way for players to swing, and it was the big duh moment. Let's try and figure out a way of having these be your web shooters. So, in effect, the Wii Remote and the Nunchuck are your right and left arms. And as you shoot out the web with either arm, it's connected to the animation and Spider-Man swinging. So the mechanics really do replicate on screen. And if you're aiming more forward, the web shoots out in a more forward direction. If you arc out, it's more to the periphery. And you can do it with a one-handed swing. So if you just want to shoot the webs on either side, you can be swinging like that. And but if you want to do two-handed, which a lot of the expert players definitely do, that preference is there as well. The other neat thing is that we use the analog stick on the Nunchuck to be able to steer Spidey while you're in that pendulum physics motion with the web. So you get the ability to really kind of steer around buildings and do some really neat maneuvers and acrobatics based around it. So it feels fairly straightforward. It takes a couple minutes to kind of get used to it, and but then you're on your way, and you can really do some really neat acrobatics and combat moves. One of the neat things about this project is that each team got to have a slightly different interpretation of the IP of Spider-Man 3. In the Wii version, the team chose to give players the choice of when to switch into black suit Spidey or be in red suit Spidey, and that's pretty unique. So the core gameplay mechanics of black suit is centrally tied, to that player choice. In the movie, the movie starts out where everything is great, and Peter Parker's living the life. He's got Mary Jane, and he's got the red suit. He's the hero. It takes a turn, and things are not going so well, and the black suit enters the picture, and Peter turns to the black suit. And we've all seen this in the trailers, and the character's at that crossroads. He changes into the black suit. He's got tremendous more power and agility. He thinks that this is great. It's given him greater strength. He thinks that he's doing the right thing, but the suit's really taking over. That aggression is playing out, and he's really going bad. And in the movie, he's struggling with that dual personality, and he has to get rid of the suit to become the hero again. And that conflict we wanted to play out in core gameplay on the Wii version. So we give players that choice, and it comes at a price whenever you don the black suit. So the dynamics between the red suit and the black suit are very different. With the red suit, we have a pretty deep experience point and upgrade system. So when you're doing combat and moves, you build up XP. And when you complete missions successfully, you build up XP. And when the XP meter fills up, you get a hero point. And hero points can be built up to purchase upgrades. And you're able to get into a really deep upgrade system and build up the abilities of Spider-Man, leveling up the character, with the red suit. When you switch to black suit, no upgrades. It's not about upgrades. You've got amazing strength and agility, and the moves are almost brutal. when you're in combat. But it's kind of a short-term gain, when you're in the suit, and you pay the price. Going back to Red Suit for a minute, when you're able to execute combos and you do really well, you also build up adrenaline. And when the adrenaline bar fills up, you're in the adrenaline mode, and there are different special web abilities that you can unlock as part of adrenaline moves, and those allow you to do takedowns that are just amazing. With the Black Suit, you don't have adrenaline; you have rage, and essentially what happens there is that as you're doing combos and you're building up the use of the Black Suit takes over, and the symbiote takes over, and you're in rage mode. And when you're in rage mode, you see the symbiote kind of leaking around the edges of the screen. And the more you're using it, it starts taking over, and the iris starts closing in on you. So you start losing situational awareness in combat, but you become extremely powerful, even with that reduced situational awareness. And so the players have to really kind of time it and say, how far do you want to go, using this suit? Because if you black out, your mission is failed. And Spidey blacks out and he wakes up. And you're in a worse spot than you were before. So the goal is to get out of the suit and rip the suit off, before you black out. And that's when you get into a crazy kind of mini game with the Wii controls to bust out of the black suit. And the longer you're using the suit, the harder it is to take off. Once you've taken it off, there's a cooldown period where you can't put the suit back on, for a while. That could put you in a much more compromised position in the middle of combat. Now, as I mentioned before, this is where the depth of gameplay comes in. There's no upgrades, when you're in the Black Suit. So if you're using the Black Suit a lot, you really didn't have the opportunity to build up XP and upgrade the Red Suit. So you could put yourself in a bad position where, you're not strong enough, and you've just got to be highly skilled to not have some of the advanced moves and still get through that combat situation. So the players have to tactically manage that. And it really does play itself out, because it goes back to the characterization of Spidey choosing between the black and the red. What happens is Spidey's got to become the hero again, and at some point you got to give up the Black Suit. And the designers have come up with a pretty cleverly balanced system, where with the upgrades, the Red Suit actually becomes more powerful than the Black Suit towards the end of the game, and the kind of missions and the challenges that the player is up against towards the end of the game, you have to have the uber powerful Red Suit. The city is pretty massive. We wanted to build Manhattan, and it was built ground up for this project. And just as a rough sense of scale, it's about 2.5 times larger than Manhattan in Spider-Man 2. The streets are wider. It's a lot bigger. More epic. We wanted to give you just that sense of freedom even more so. With the swinging and traversal of the game. The city was also designed to be much bigger because we have so much more stuff going on within it with our dynamic mission system. So that's pretty neat. And another dimension we've added to the city, beyond just time of day changing to night to daytime, is that we have a system called City Status. And depending on how well you're doing within your missions and where the crime wave is at, if the gangs are taking over the city and crime is at an all-time high, City Status tanks. And when it tanks, things go to hell. You see trash piling up in the streets and potholes in the road, leaves are falling off the trees, the sky is overcast, the lighting has changed. So in a way, the city's like a giant mood ring, based on how you're doing. If you're the protector of the city and things are going great, people are happy, the kind of quips and things that they say on the streets are a little more cheery. It's blue sky, the sun's out. If it's overcast and stuff like that, they're like a lot more grumpy and downright annoyed. And it's really kind of fun, to see all that played out.